Hello and welcome. In this quick tutorial, I'm going to explain a fundamental topic in the world of software development, which is inversion of control and dependency injection. Most of the new developers in their career find this topic difficult to understand. That's why today I'm going to explain inversion of control and dependency injection with an analogy. Okay. So imagine there is a chef in a kitchen who cooks different type of dishes with different type of ingredients. In order to cook a dish, the chef can make all the required ingredient by himself, or he can have someone else to prepare all the ingredient for himself. So in these two approach, the first approach is without inversion of control, and the second approach is with inversion of control. So how? In the second approach, we are having someone else from an external source to supply the necessary dependency for our job. That is why it is called inversion of control. But when the chef prepare all the ingredient, no inversion of control is happening here. It is a typical execution where the chef is tightly coupled to preparing his ingredient. So if we dive into coding, then we can clearly understand the idea. So for that, for our analogy, we created a class called ingredient. It has a class variable called name, for which will contain the name of our ingredient. In our example, it will represent the ingredient, and we have two examples. One is with inversion of control and another one is without inversion of control. So first we'll see without inversion of control. So here we have created a class called chef without inversion of control. Here we have a constructor where when we call the constructor, when a new instance is created, the ingredient is prepared by the chef. Here this new ingredient with the name of the ingredient represents the creation of a new ingredient. So in this chef without IOC example, every time a chef start cooking, he create his own ingredient. So this ingredient creation is inside the chef class. So here in the main class, when we create a new instance of chef, the chef creates all the ingredient, and then when we call the cook method, the chef completes his cooking with that ingredient. So this is a typical approach where the control flow of the program is executed serially, line by line. But what if we want to pass the responsibility of creating ingredient to someone else, and we don't want to bother the chef to prepare the ingredient? Instead of that, we want our chef to focus on his cooking, and all the ingredient will be supplied by someone else to our chef. Our chef will receive the right ingredient for the right recipe. So in that case, let's see another class where we have inversion of control. So here in our constructor, instead of creating all the ingredient by our chef, we are passing the ready-made ingredient, and the constructor is setting the ingredient to class variable. So here our constructor is receiving the ingredient when creating the chef instance and then cooking with the past ingredient. So in our main class here, we first creating the salt ingredient and then passing the prepared ingredient to our chef. The chef have no control over the salt ingredient. He will just cook with the supplied ingredient. Okay, so this is what inversion of control called. The required ingredient is passed to the chef and it create a loose coupling with the chef. The ingredient and chef are in loose coupling. So if we need a different ingredient for a different recipe, we can prepare the ingredient and just pass to our chef. Let's say we have a different ingredient for a different recipe, then we can just pass this different ingredient to this chef constructor and then a different recipe will be cooked. But in our earlier example, if we want to create a different recipe, then we need to change our code in the constructor, which is not a good practice. So when we talk about inversion of control, another term comes which is dependency injection. So our main purpose is to achieve inversion of control. But to achieve this, what we did here we have passed some value in our constructor. So what we did here is actually one kind of dependency injection here. The dependency for our chef is ingredient and we passed it to constructor. So this is a constructor based dependency injection. In order to achieve our inversion of control, we utilize the dependency injection paradigm. There may have some other approach to achieve our inversion of control, and dependency injection is one of them. Dependency injection is a strategy to achieve inversion of control. So here for our analogy, having someone else to supply the ingredient to chef is the inversion of control instead of our chef preparing all the ingredient, and the process of supplying the right ingredient to our chef is called dependency injection. I hope you got the idea about inversion of control and dependency injection. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Hello everyone. In the last tutorial, we learned the basics of inversion of control and dependency injection. Now in this tutorial, we'll learn how Spring Framework achieved the inversion of control, as it is a IOC framework, which means it leverages the inversion of control principle heavily. So when our Spring Boot application starts, it scans many parts of our application, including the class path. Based on what the application finds, it automatically adds Spring Beans to our application context. You have to understand clearly this line because the application context and Spring Bean are two crucial things of Spring Framework. So what is application context? Application context is some kind of container which start at the beginning of our Spring application, whether or not Spring Boot is involved. When our Spring Boot application start, it creates some kind of container, and that container is called the application context. So the application context have some other name like Spring container, Spring IOC container, etc. So this is actually an interface. If we go to the application context interface, which comes with the Spring Framework, as you can see here, this comes with Spring context, and under the package org.springframework.context, here this application context is the context we are talking about. This is the Spring IOC container, also Spring container, whatever you say. Here, as the documentation says, central interface to provide configuration for an application. Okay, this is the default IOC container for Spring Boot application. It also extends some other interface like listable bin factory here. And if we go to the listable bin factory, you can see that this interface extends some other interface called bin factory. Here, the bin factory is another application context sort of thing, which provide the very basic functionality for creating and managing bean. But our application container is the main IOC controller. Okay, now we understand that Spring Application's application context initiates at the beginning of our application startup, and it is some kind of container. It scans for Spring Bean and registers them in the container. So now let's understand what is Spring Bean. We know that Java Beaner, plain old Java class, which have some property, private property, and those properties are accessed via the getter setter method. Spring Bean is an instance of Java Bean which is maintained by Spring container. So Spring Bean is just a Java Bean which is instantiated, assembled, and managed by Spring IOC controller or our application context. So when our application start, our application context scans for the Spring Bean and register them to the application context. Now, how Spring Boot understand that this is a bean, this is a Spring Bean? Since Spring Bean is an object that is managed by Spring application context, the classes which are annotated with at controller, at repository, at service, at component, or a class which is annotated with a configuration annotation, and it also have a method with bean annotation, and that method returns an instance of a class. Those are the ways a Spring application understand that this is supposed to be a Spring Bean and I have to add this to our application context. So when the application start, it scans for these kind of classes which are annotated with those annotations. So now let's understand how Spring application achieve the inversion of control. So now that we understand the application context and bean, let's imagine our application started scanning for the bean to register to the application context. Here one class which is student service, this is annotated with service. So Spring will register an instance of this class as a Spring Bean. Okay, so one thing I want to mention here is by default the scope for a bean is singleton. So the instance or an object which is registered to the application context will be available throughout the life cycle of our application because it is singleton and only one instance is available. Spring Boot scans for this class and want to have an object of this class as a bean. So when it want to instantiate this class to have an object, then we can see that in the constructor we have passed the student repository here. We did this because we want to focus on the implementation of student service rather than manually creating the database connection and handling all the persistence logic. We want to have those persistence logic injected in this class, and we want to focus on the student service. So we designed this way. So when Spring Boot application start, when it want to have an instance of this student service class as a bean, then it find out that it have another dependency, and again it asks the application context, do you have the instance of this student repository? If you have it, then give me that, or create one and then give me. Application context either have it or create a new instance of student repository and return it, and this way the instance of student service is registered to the application context as a bean. So this is how Spring Boot achieved the inversion of control. Spring Boot can achieve the inversion of control with dependency injection here, which is a constructor based injection. We can also just put an auto add annotation. So this is one way we can achieve the inversion of control. I hope you have understood the idea how Spring achieved the inversion of control and how Spring register all the beans to the application context. Now you may ask, why do we need this? We can just create new instance of student repository in the class. Why do we need this kind of architecture where application scans all the component and register to the application context? The answer is, for the standard situation when we need to power up our application in the live server, we want to make sure that all the beans are wired up as expected. And since beans can have different kind of scope, we can apply the scope as we need. So I hope you have understood the idea how Spring achieve inversion of control and dependency injection. I'll see you in the next tutorial.